Hi, my name is Kylie Hanlon, and I'm here to tell you about a paper called The Mentalistic Basics of Core Social Cognition, Experiments in Preverbal Infants and a Computational Model. I authored this paper together with my colleagues Tomer Ullman, Josh Tenenbaum, Noah Goodman, and Chris Baker, and it appears in Developmental Science. This study is asking about infants' preferences for good guys over bad guys, those that help others achieve their goals versus those that prevent others' goals, and asked essentially how sophisticated infants' understanding of these characters has to be in order for them to show preferences for good guys over bad guys. A real world example of this study is as follows. Imagine that you hate chocolate. I happen to give you some chocolate. So this is obviously not a great day for you, but importantly, how you evaluate me as a chocolate giver really depends on your preference for chocolate, which you don't have, and my knowledge of that preference. So if I knew that you hated chocolate and I slipped it to you anyway, I would be a bad guy for that action. So the chocolate giving would be a bad act. If, on the other hand, I didn't know you hated chocolate, I thought you liked it, I would have been mistaken and I would have unfortunately given you the wrong thing, but I wouldn't be a bad guy for it. I would be sort of sadly mistaken. Critically, our interpretation of the same exact action, in this case chocolate giving, is related to your preferences for chocolate or not for chocolate and my knowledge of your preferences. So basically our mental states. So we set out to see whether infants take these kinds of things into account when they're making their own judgments, preferences for good guys over bad guys. The design of the study goes like this. A curtain raises to reveal a brightly colored wall with two openings in it. In front of one of the openings is a duck, and in front of the other opening is a flower. So a lion puppet comes and looks at the flower, and then looks at the duck, and eventually reaches for the flower. He does this again when the positions of the toys are switched on another trial to show that he really wants that flower. So this sort of looking at the toys and reaching for the flower action happens a total of 4 times. And on the 5th time the curtain rises, infants see that 2 white doors have been placed in the openings in the wall. And the lion jumps up and down behind the wall as though he can't get over it. Finally, on the last 6 events we show infants, infants see just one elephant at a time, so the yellow and the pink both go, but they go in alternation, opening one or the other of the doors. So the yellow puppet would walk across the top of the wall, grasp the top of the door behind the flower, and the lion grasp the flower. The pink puppet lifts the door behind the duck, and the lion grasps the duck. So we reason that in this condition, the yellow puppet is nicer than the pink puppet because he allowed the lion to get his preferred toy. And remember, the puppets were there in the puppet show initially, so they saw what the preference was, they knew which one the lion liked, and so they should sort of be held responsible for their actions. In contrast, we have 2 additional conditions that infants saw in which we didn't think that the elephant should be evaluated positively or negatively. They shouldn't have been held responsible. In the first, the lion still liked the flower, except the elephants weren't there to see it, so they didn't know about his preference. In the second control, the lion grasped the flower, except there was no duck present, so it wasn't clear that the grasping indicated a preference at all. In addition, we use recent advances in the computational methods to try to tease apart these options in sort of a more rigorous way. So it worked like this. We built sort of agent programs with varying degree of mental prowess. For instance, a kind of a lion program and a kind of an elephant program, programs that plan and make decisions and try to achieve goals. And the idea is that babies might be building something like this kind of program when they're watching these characters and interpreting and predicting their future behaviors. So the question becomes, what kind of program are they building? Are they building one with rich mentalistic stuff like preferences and knowledge, or instead are they building something like action facilitator or something like that that's less sophisticated? So the different programs or models give us specific predictions about what babies' choices should be, so we can really sort of rigorously ask which of these models is best mapped onto infants' actual choice data. So you can get more details in the paper, but basically what we found is that babies are using rich mentalistic interpretations to evaluate these characters. So they only preferred the yellow elephant who gave access to the flower in the first condition when both the elephants knew what the lion's preference was and the lion showed a preference. In the other 2 conditions, when either there was no preference shown but there was no knowledge of the preference by the elephants. Infants did not prefer the yellow elephant. Computationally, this high-level mentalistic model was really the only one that fit the data, beating out several mid-level and low-level models that we tried. This paper demonstrates that infants can evaluate exactly the same action of, say, door lifting as either good or bad or neither, depending solely on the mental states of everybody involved. So we think that this is really good evidence that by 10 months of age, infants are already capable of pretty rich, sophisticated social evaluations. Happy reading, and do let us know if you have any questions or comments. Thanks.